15 Black actresses who were the worst drug addicts in Hollywood. What if the brightest stars in music and Hollywood were fighting battles that no amount of fame, fortune, or applause could erase? Behind the platinum records, blockbuster movies, and glamorous red carpets were women who struggled with addiction, heartbreak, and the pressure of living under the world's constant spotlight. Some found the strength to rebuild their lives and inspire millions, while others paid a heartbreaking price that shocked the world. Today, we're uncovering the true stories behind 15 legendary Black women whose journeys remind us that even icons are human. Stay with us until the very end. One story may completely change the way you remember these legends. And when you're finished, tell us in the comments which story impacted you the most. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for golden Black legends so you never miss another unforgettable story. Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige's voice has always carried something deeper than melody. It carries survival. Long before she became known as the undisputed queen of hip-hop soul, Mary grew up in the Schlobohm Houses public housing project in Yonkers, New York, surrounded by domestic violence, poverty, and emotional trauma. Music became her escape, and in 1992, her debut album, What's the 411, revolutionized R&B by blending soulful vocals with hip-hop culture. Almost overnight, she became one of the most influential female artists of her generation. Yet while her career soared, Mary's private life was filled with pain. She has openly admitted that during the height of her fame, she struggled with alcohol and drug use while battling depression, low self-esteem, and unresolved childhood wounds. Rather than glamorizing addiction, Blige has consistently described it as an attempt to numb emotional suffering. Those difficult years affected both her physical health and mental well-being, but unlike many stars who never found their way back, Mary made the difficult decision to confront her addictions through therapy, faith, and personal accountability. Her comeback became one of the most inspiring stories in modern music. Albums such as The Breakthrough and Growing Pains showcased a stronger, more self-aware artist, while songs like Be Without You, No More Drama, and Just Fine reflected the lessons she had learned through hardship. She later expanded into acting, earning 2 Academy Award nominations for Mudbound in 2018, one for Best Supporting Actress and another for Best Original Song, making history as the first person nominated in both categories for the same film. Today, Mary J. Blige stands not as a symbol of addiction but of redemption. She frequently speaks about healing mental health and self-worth, encouraging others to seek help before it's too late. Her story proves that addiction does not have to define a life forever. Instead, resilience, honesty, and the courage to confront personal pain can transform even the darkest chapter into a powerful testimony of hope. Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday remains one of the most influential singers in American history, yet behind her unmistakable voice lay a life marked by extraordinary hardship. Born Eleanora Fagan in 1915, she endured poverty, abuse, and instability from childhood. Those painful experiences shaped the emotional honesty that later defined her music. By the late 1930s and 1940s, Holiday had become one of jazz's brightest stars, recording timeless classics such as God Bless the Child Lover Man and The Haunting Strange Fruit, a song that courageously condemned racial violence at a time when few artists dared to speak publicly. Success, however, never protected her from personal demons. Holiday struggled with heroin addiction for many years, a battle that repeatedly interrupted her career and damaged her health. In 1947, she was arrested on federal drug charges and served time in prison. Following her release, authorities revoked her New York cabaret card, preventing her from performing in many of the city's major nightclubs. Although she continued recording and touring, the legal restrictions, combined with addiction and declining health, steadily weakened both her career and financial stability. Despite these setbacks, Holiday never lost the emotional power that made her performances unforgettable. Audiences continued to hear genuine pain, vulnerability, and resilience in every lyric she sang. Her final years were tragic. Hospitalized in New York in 1959 with liver and heart complications, she remained under police guard after narcotics were reportedly discovered in her hospital room. On July 17, 1959, Billie Holiday died at just 44 years old, leaving behind one of the most influential musical legacies of the 20th century. Today, Billie Holiday's story is remembered not simply as one of addiction, but as the story of an artist whose extraordinary talent survived unimaginable adversity. Her life serves as a powerful reminder that addiction can devastate even the greatest gifts, yet her recordings continue inspiring generations of musicians around the world. More than 6 decades after her passing, Lady Day's voice still carries the sorrow, strength, and timeless beauty that made her a true legend. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston possessed one of the greatest voices the music industry has ever known. With extraordinary vocal range, effortless control, and unmatched emotional expression, she became a global icon whose influence extended far beyond pop and R&B. Her self-titled debut album in 1985 launched a remarkable career that produced chart-topping hits including I Will Always Love You, Greatest Love of All, I Wanna Dance with Somebody, and How Will I Know. By the early 1990s, Houston had sold millions of records worldwide, starred in the blockbuster film The Bodyguard, and established herself as one of the most successful female artists in history. Behind the extraordinary success, however, Whitney struggled with deeply personal challenges. Years of intense public pressure, a demanding career, and personal difficulties contributed to substance abuse involving cocaine and other drugs. Houston never hid the fact that addiction became one of the greatest battles of her life. Her declining health affected both her voice and her career, leading to cancelled performances, rehabilitation attempts, and constant media scrutiny. Yet even during her most difficult years, fans continued to recognize the extraordinary talent that remained beneath the headlines. Despite numerous setbacks, Houston repeatedly attempted to rebuild her life and career. She returned with the album I Look to You in 2009, expressing hope for a fresh beginning. Although the album was commercially successful, her health continued to deteriorate. On February 11, 2012, Whitney Houston was found unresponsive in a hotel bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel on the eve of the Grammy Awards. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled that she accidentally drowned with heart disease and cocaine use contributing to her death. She was only 48 years old. Whitney Houston's legacy extends far beyond the tragedy that ended her life. She remains one of the best-selling recording artists of all time, with more than 220 million records sold worldwide. Her story serves as both an inspiration and a warning, demonstrating that unimaginable talent can coexist with profound personal struggles. Today, her unforgettable voice continues to inspire generations, proving that while addiction may have shaped part of her journey, it could never erase the brilliance of her extraordinary gift. Tina Turner. Tina Turner earned her place among the greatest performers in music history through extraordinary resilience, electrifying stage presence, and a voice filled with raw emotion. Rising to fame during the 1960s, alongside Ike Turner, she captivated audiences with explosive performances and timeless hits. Yet behind the glamour, Tina endured years of domestic abuse and manipulation. She later revealed that during her turbulent marriage, she was introduced to drugs, including cocaine, by Ike Turner. Although she experimented with drugs during that painful period, Tina consistently maintained that she never developed the type of long-term addiction that defined the lives of some other entertainers. Instead, her greatest battle was escaping an abusive relationship that nearly destroyed her confidence. After leaving Ike in 1976 with little more than her stage name, Tina rebuilt her career through determination and relentless hard work. Many believed her career was finished, but in 1984, she achieved one of music's greatest comebacks with the album Private Dancer, featuring classics such as What's Love Got to Do with It, Better Be Good to Me, and Private Dancer. The album sold millions of copies worldwide and earned multiple Grammy Awards, transforming her into a global superstar once again. She later starred in successful world tours and inspired millions through her autobiography and the acclaimed film What's Love Got to Do with It. During her later years, Turner faced significant health challenges, including intestinal cancer, kidney disease, and a stroke. In 2017, her husband Erwin Bach donated one of his kidneys to save her life. She spent her final years living peacefully in Switzerland before passing away on May 24, 2023, at the age of 83 after a long illness. Tina Turner's story is ultimately one of triumph rather than defeat. While drugs briefly appeared during one painful chapter of her life, they never became the defining force of her legacy. Instead, she became a worldwide symbol of survival, proving that courage, resilience, and self-belief can overcome even the darkest circumstances. Natalie Cole. Natalie Cole inherited one of music's greatest legacies as the daughter of legendary singer Nat King Cole, but she was determined to build a remarkable career on her own. In the mid-1970s, she burst onto the music scene with energetic R&B hits, including This Will Be, Inseparable, and Sophisticated Lady. Her powerful voice and magnetic stage presence quickly established her as one of the brightest stars of her generation. Yet behind the success, Natalie quietly struggled with pressures that few fans fully understood. As her career accelerated, Cole developed a serious addiction to heroin, cocaine, and prescription drugs. The addiction affected nearly every aspect of her life, leading to deteriorating health, financial strain, and professional setbacks. By the early 1980s, her condition had become life-threatening, forcing her to seek rehabilitation. Rather than hiding her past, Natalie later spoke openly about her addiction, hoping her experience would encourage others facing similar battles. She described recovery as a lifelong journey, requiring honesty, discipline, and unwavering commitment. One of Hollywood's most inspiring comeback stories followed. After achieving sobriety, Natalie rebuilt her career and reached new heights with the 1991 album Unforgettable. With Love, a heartfelt tribute to her father that featured groundbreaking technology, allowing their voices to perform together. The album sold more than 7 million copies in the United States alone and won multiple Grammy Awards, reminding the world that her extraordinary talent had never disappeared. In later years, Cole faced severe health complications, including hepatitis C, kidney failure, and a kidney transplant in 2009. Despite ongoing medical challenges, she continued performing whenever possible. Natalie Cole passed away on December 31, 2015 at the age of 65 due to complications from idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension that led to heart failure. Natalie Cole's life demonstrates that addiction can interrupt even the brightest careers, but it does not have to determine their ending. Through perseverance, recovery, and extraordinary musical talent, she transformed personal tragedy into one of the greatest comeback stories in entertainment history. Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan has long been celebrated as one of the most powerful voices in soul, funk, and R&B music. Rising to fame in the 1970s as the lead singer of Rufus, she introduced the world to unforgettable classics such as Tell Me Something Good, before launching a hugely successful solo career with hits including I'm Every Woman, Through the Fire, and Ain't Nobody. Her remarkable vocal ability earned her multiple Grammy Awards and established her as one of the defining artists of modern black music. Yet behind the applause and platinum records, Chaka privately fought a dangerous battle with addiction. Throughout the late 1970s and early 1980s, Khan struggled with heavy cocaine use while navigating the pressures of international fame. She has openly acknowledged that addiction affected both her personal relationships and professional life, causing emotional pain and placing her health at serious risk. Unlike many celebrities who remained silent about similar experiences, Chaka later chose to speak honestly about her mistakes, emphasizing that addiction can affect anyone, regardless of success or wealth. Determined to reclaim control of her life, Khan entered rehabilitation and gradually rebuilt both her health and career. Her commitment to recovery allowed her to continue recording, touring, and inspiring audiences for decades. Beyond music, she became an advocate for addiction awareness through the Chaka Khan Foundation, supporting education, mental health initiatives, and recovery programs for individuals and families affected by substance abuse. Today, Chaka Khan is recognized not only for her extraordinary voice but also for her resilience. With 10 Grammy Awards and decades of musical excellence, she remains one of the most respected performers in the industry. Her journey reminds us that addiction does not discriminate, but recovery is possible through courage, support, and determination. Rather than allowing her struggles to define her legacy, Chaka transformed them into a message of hope, proving that true strength is measured not by never falling, but by finding the courage to rise again. Pam Grier. Pam Grier revolutionized Hollywood long before action heroines became commonplace. During the 1970s, she emerged as the undisputed queen of the blaxploitation era through unforgettable performances in films such as Coffee, Foxy Brown, and Sheba Baby. Fearless, charismatic, and fiercely independent, Grier broke stereotypes by portraying women who fought back against crime and injustice with unmatched confidence. Her influence extended far beyond her era, inspiring generations of actresses and filmmakers. Decades later, Quentin Tarantino reignited her career by casting her in Jackie Brown, 1997, proving that her talent had never faded. Behind her groundbreaking success, however, Pam has spoken honestly about the pressures of fame and the destructive environment surrounding Hollywood during the 1970s. In her memoir, she acknowledged experimenting with cocaine during that period while surrounded by widespread drug culture. Rather than portraying drug use as glamorous, Grier described it as part of a difficult chapter she eventually left behind. Unlike many contemporaries, she recognized the dangers early enough to walk away before addiction completely controlled her life, allowing her to preserve both her career and her health. Life presented other formidable challenges. In 1988, Grier was diagnosed with cervical cancer, and doctors initially feared the worst. Refusing to surrender, she underwent treatment and eventually became cancer-free, transforming another painful experience into a story of resilience. She continued acting in television and film, while also becoming an advocate for cancer awareness and women's health. Today, Pam Grier is celebrated not simply as an action star, but as a cultural pioneer whose influence reshaped opportunities for Black women in Hollywood. Her willingness to acknowledge past mistakes without allowing them to define her has earned widespread respect. Her story reminds us that success is not measured by avoiding every obstacle, but by finding the strength to overcome them. Decades after first captivating audiences, Pam Grier remains an enduring symbol of courage, perseverance, and timeless talent. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg's extraordinary career is built upon fearless honesty, remarkable versatility, and a talent unlike anyone else in Hollywood. From her breakthrough performance in The Color Purple to unforgettable films such as Ghost Sister, Act, and The Lion King, Goldberg has entertained audiences for more than 4 decades. She belongs to the exclusive group of performers who have achieved EGOT status, winning an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award. Yet behind that remarkable success lies a story of difficult choices and personal transformation. Before becoming an international star, Goldberg lived a very different life. While struggling financially as a young woman in California, she experimented with cocaine and eventually developed a serious dependency. She has spoken openly about that period, explaining that addiction nearly derailed her future before her career had even begun. Rather than waiting until fame magnified her problems, Goldberg made the decision to stop using drugs while she was still an aspiring performer. She has repeatedly credited determination, personal responsibility, and the desire to build a better future for helping her leave that chapter behind. Unlike many celebrity addiction stories, Goldberg's recovery occurred before worldwide recognition arrived. As a result, audiences came to know her not through scandal, but through extraordinary performances and groundbreaking achievements. Over the years, she has continued speaking honestly about her past, encouraging others to seek help without shame or embarrassment. Her willingness to discuss difficult experiences has inspired countless fans facing similar struggles. Today, Whoopi Goldberg remains one of the entertainment industry's most respected voices. Beyond acting, she has enjoyed successful careers as a producer, author, comedian, and longtime co-host of The View. Her journey demonstrates that mistakes made in youth do not have to determine an entire lifetime. Instead, Goldberg transformed painful experiences into motivation, proving that discipline, resilience, and self-belief can open doors to achievements few people ever imagine. Naomi Campbell. Naomi Campbell transformed the fashion industry by becoming one of the world's first black supermodels to achieve true global superstardom. During the late 1980s and 1990s, she dominated international runways, appeared on countless magazine covers, and worked with nearly every major luxury fashion house. Alongside fellow supermodels Cindy Crawford, Linda Evangelista, and Christy Turlington, Campbell redefined beauty standards while breaking racial barriers that had existed in high fashion for decades. Her confidence, elegance, and unmistakable runway walk made her an international icon. Behind the glamorous image, however, Campbell privately battled cocaine addiction during the height of her career. She has openly admitted that drug use became a way of coping with emotional pain following the death of close friend and mentor Gianni Versace in 1997, along with other personal losses and the relentless pressures of fame. Campbell later acknowledged that addiction pushed her toward destructive behavior, affecting both her emotional well-being and professional reputation. Rather than denying those struggles, she eventually sought treatment and entered rehabilitation, recognizing that lasting success required personal healing. Recovery marked a turning point in her life. Campbell continued modeling at the highest level while expanding into philanthropy, business, television, and humanitarian work. She has become a vocal supporter of charitable organizations focusing on children's welfare, disaster relief, and racial equality. By speaking candidly about addiction and mental health, she has encouraged others to seek help instead of hiding their struggles. Today, Naomi Campbell remains one of the most influential figures in fashion history. Her remarkable longevity demonstrates both extraordinary talent and personal resilience. Although addiction became one chapter of her journey, it never became the defining story of her life. Instead, Campbell's legacy is built upon perseverance, groundbreaking achievements, and the courage to confront personal challenges openly. Her story reminds us that even those who appear strongest on the outside sometimes fight invisible battles, and that recovery is always possible with determination and support. Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith has built an impressive career as an actress, producer, author, and television host, while consistently demonstrating a willingness to speak honestly about life's most difficult challenges. From early roles in A Different World to films such as Set It Off, The Matrix, Reloaded, The Matrix Revolutions, and Girls Trip, she established herself as one of Hollywood's most respected performers. Yet beyond her professional achievements, Jada has earned attention for discussing deeply personal experiences that many celebrities prefer to keep hidden. Before finding lasting success, Pinkett Smith has said she experimented with drugs and alcohol during her teenage years and early adulthood while growing up in Baltimore. She has acknowledged using substances including cocaine during that period, describing those years as part of a troubled search for identity and stability rather than a glamorous lifestyle. Jada has repeatedly emphasized that she walked away from drugs before her acting career truly began, recognizing that addiction could destroy the future she hoped to build. Her openness has become a central part of her message about healing, accountability, and personal growth. Throughout her career, Jada has continued encouraging honest conversations about mental health, trauma, and recovery through interviews, her memoir, Worthy, and the award-winning talk series, Red Table Talk. Rather than presenting herself as someone with a perfect life, she has chosen to discuss mistakes, family challenges, and emotional struggles with unusual transparency. That honesty has resonated with many people facing similar experiences. Today, Jada Pinkett Smith's legacy extends far beyond acting. She remains an influential voice, advocating emotional wellness, healthy relationships, and self-reflection. Her story demonstrates that early mistakes do not have to determine the future, especially when they are confronted with honesty and determination. By transforming painful lessons into opportunities for growth, she continues inspiring audiences to believe that healing is possible no matter how difficult the journey may seem. Vanity Denise Matthews. Denise Matthews, better known by her stage name Vanity, rose to international fame during the early 1980s as the glamorous lead singer of Vanity Six, the female trio created by Prince. With songs such as Nasty Girl and the bold stage image, Vanity quickly became one of pop music's most recognizable stars. She later pursued a successful solo career while appearing in films including The Last Dragon and Action Jackson. To millions of fans, she seemed to embody fame, beauty, and confidence. Behind the spotlight, however, her personal life was unraveling. Throughout the height of her career, Vanity struggled with severe cocaine addiction that eventually escalated into crack cocaine dependence. The addiction affected nearly every aspect of her life, damaging relationships, disrupting her career, and causing serious physical consequences. In the mid-1990s, years of substance abuse contributed to kidney failure, and doctors informed her that she had only a limited chance of survival. The frightening diagnosis became a life-changing turning point. Following that medical crisis, Vanity abandoned drugs, distanced herself from the entertainment industry, and embraced a deeply spiritual life centered on Christian ministry. She publicly renounced many aspects of her former celebrity image, choosing instead to speak about faith, recovery, and personal transformation. Rather than returning to the glamorous lifestyle that once defined her, she dedicated her remaining years to helping others understand the devastating consequences of addiction and the possibility of redemption. Denise Matthews passed away on February 15, 2016 at the age of 57 after years of health complications related to kidney disease. Although addiction brought heartbreaking setbacks, it never erased the hope she found during the final chapter of her life. Today, Vanity's story stands as one of the entertainment industry's most powerful examples of redemption. Her journey reminds us that even after years of destructive choices, change remains possible when courage, faith, and determination replace despair. Dorothy Dandridge. Dorothy Dandridge changed Hollywood forever long before opportunities for black actresses became more common. Elegant, talented, and blessed with extraordinary screen presence, she broke racial barriers by becoming the first black woman nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress for her unforgettable performance in Carmen Jones' 1954. At a time when meaningful leading roles for black women were extremely rare, Dandridge proved that talent could transcend prejudice. Her beauty and charisma made her an international star, yet behind the glamorous image existed a woman carrying overwhelming emotional and financial burdens. As her career slowed during the late 1950s, Dandridge faced increasing personal struggles. Limited opportunities caused financial hardship, while failed relationships and the responsibility of caring for her daughter, who had severe disabilities, added enormous emotional pressure. During this difficult period, she relied heavily on prescription medications and alcohol to cope with depression and anxiety. Although her exact cause of death has been debated for decades, medical authorities ruled that she died from an accidental overdose of the antidepressant imipramine on September 8, 1965, at just 42 years old. Her tragic passing shocked Hollywood and marked the heartbreaking end of one of its brightest pioneers. Despite her short life, Dorothy's influence only grew stronger after her death. Generations of actresses, including Halle Berry, Angela Bassett, and many others have acknowledged her groundbreaking achievements. Barry's Emmy-winning portrayal of Dandridge in Introducing Dorothy. Dandridge helped introduce her remarkable story to a new generation while highlighting both her extraordinary accomplishments and the discrimination she endured. Today, Dorothy Dandridge is remembered not for the tragedy that ended her life, but for the doors she opened. Her story reminds us that fame cannot protect anyone from loneliness, depression, or emotional pain. Yet her courage, grace, and determination forever changed Hollywood, ensuring that her legacy continues inspiring artists who dream of overcoming barriers that once seemed impossible. Phyllis Hyman. Phyllis Hyman possessed one of the richest and most expressive voices in soul and jazz, earning admiration for timeless recordings such as You Know How to Love Me, Living All Alone, and Old Friend. Towering in both stature and talent, she captivated audiences with emotional performances that revealed remarkable depth and vulnerability. Throughout the late 1970s and 1980s, Hyman established herself as one of the most respected vocalists in black music, admired by critics and fellow artists alike. Yet behind the applause, she quietly fought emotional battles that few people fully understood. Unlike some entertainers whose careers were dominated by drug addiction, Hyman's greatest struggle centered on clinical depression and bipolar disorder, conditions that were rarely discussed openly during her lifetime. She also experienced periods of heavy alcohol use, which often worsened her emotional health. Friends and colleagues later described a woman who appeared glamorous on stage but privately battled overwhelming loneliness, relationship disappointments, and the constant pressure to maintain success in an unforgiving industry. As mental health awareness was far more limited at the time, many of her struggles went unrecognized or misunderstood. On June 30, 1995, only hours before she was scheduled to perform at New York's Apollo Theater, Phyllis Hyman died by suicide at the age of 45 after ingesting a fatal combination of medication. She left behind a deeply personal note describing years of emotional pain. Her death shocked the music world and later became part of a broader conversation about depression, mental illness, and the importance of seeking professional help. Today, Phyllis Hyman is remembered for far more than the tragedy of her final days. Her extraordinary voice continues to influence generations of singers, while her life reminds us that emotional suffering is often invisible. Rather than reducing her story to heartbreak alone, her legacy encourages compassion, greater awareness of mental health, and appreciation for an artist whose remarkable talent continues to resonate long after her passing. Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash became one of the most recognizable actresses of the 1990s after her breakout performance as Dionne Davenport in the hit film Clueless, 1995. Stylish, confident, and charismatic, Dash quickly became a pop culture icon, later reprising the role in the television adaptation. She also appeared in films such as Mo Money, Renaissance Man, and Moving, building a successful career that seemed destined to continue for decades. Yet behind the glamorous Hollywood image, Dash quietly battled personal struggles that would eventually overshadow much of her professional success. Years later, Stacey openly admitted that she had struggled with addiction to prescription painkillers, particularly Vicodin, during a difficult period in her life. She has explained that the medication gradually became a way to escape emotional pain and personal problems, rather than simply treating physical discomfort. Instead of glamorizing addiction, Dash has described it as a destructive cycle that damaged her health, relationships, and judgment. Combined with highly publicized family conflicts, legal issues, and financial difficulties, those years became some of the darkest chapters of her life. Determined to reclaim control, Dash eventually sought sobriety and began speaking publicly about her recovery. She has repeatedly encouraged others struggling with addiction to seek professional help before their lives spiral further out of control. Although her political views and media appearances have often generated controversy, Dash has remained candid about her personal mistakes, emphasizing that recovery requires accountability, honesty, and perseverance rather than excuses. Today's Stacey Dash's story serves as a reminder that addiction can affect anyone regardless of fame or success. While her career has experienced dramatic highs and painful lows, she continues working in film and television while focusing on maintaining a healthier lifestyle. Her journey demonstrates that even after public setbacks, people can choose to confront their past and pursue a better future. Rather than allowing addiction to become the final chapter of her story, Stacey Dash continues striving to rebuild her life one step at a time. Macy Gray. Macy Gray built her career by doing something few artists could accomplish, turning an unconventional voice into an unforgettable signature. Bursting onto the international music scene with her 1999 debut album On How Life Is, she became an overnight sensation thanks to the global smash hit I Try. Her raspy vocals, soulful delivery and fearless individuality quickly distinguished her from every other singer of her era. Grammy Awards, platinum albums, and international tours followed, establishing Gray as one of the most distinctive voices in contemporary R&B and soul music. Behind the success, however, Macy has spoken candidly about experimenting with drugs during her younger years, including cocaine, before achieving lasting fame. She has acknowledged that substance use was part of a reckless lifestyle she eventually recognized as destructive. Unlike many artists whose addictions became prolonged public battles, Gray has explained that she chose to step away from that path before it permanently damaged her health or career. She has frequently emphasized that success alone cannot solve personal problems and that genuine happiness requires discipline, self-awareness, and healthier choices. Throughout her career, Gray has remained unapologetically authentic, often discussing mental health, creativity, and the pressures of fame with refreshing honesty. Rather than hiding past mistakes, she has used them as lessons to encourage younger artists to avoid the same pitfalls. Beyond music, she has appeared in numerous films and television projects while continuing to release albums and perform internationally. Today, Macy Gray is admired not only for her unmistakable voice, but also for her resilience and individuality. More than 2 decades after I Try first topped charts around the world, she continues to prove that authenticity never goes out of style. Her story reminds us that experimenting with dangerous choices can easily become a lifelong burden, but recognizing those dangers early can completely change a person's future. Through honesty and perseverance, Macy Gray transformed difficult experiences into wisdom that continues inspiring fans across generations. Every woman in this story reminds us that fame, fortune, and extraordinary talent can never guarantee happiness or protect someone from personal battles. Some found the strength to overcome addiction and rebuild their lives, while others tragically lost their fight far too soon. Their journeys are heartbreaking, but they also leave us with powerful lessons about resilience, compassion, and the importance of seeking help before it's too late. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which story touched you the most, and which Black legend do you think showed the greatest courage in the face of addiction? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more inspiring stories from golden Black legends.